Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about the history of the HMRs as it's referred to in Korean, but in English we have different words for them. Originally, they were called TV dinners. So it started back in the 1950s when everyone had a refrigerator, everyone had a TV. They were marketed to people that, hey, if you buy these TV dinners, it's much easier than cooking and you can spend time with your family while watching TV. So after work, families would get together, heat up their TV dinners which were frozen, put a little tray down, and everyone could eat their individual meal and watch TV. As time went on, the TV dinners turned into what we call frozen meals or now frozen foods because there's such a variety of them. An increase of single households has brought many changes to Korea's retail industry. We see launches of new products targeted at those who live alone. The trend is also conspicuous in the food market, where various kinds of instant food that only need microwave oven or boiling water are hitting the shelves. But it's not just single residents who enjoy the comfort of instant foods, or so-called HMR, home meal replacement, in Korea. HMRs are referred to TV dinners, frozen meals, and frozen foods in English-speaking countries. Statistics show that the total size of Korea's frozen food market has exceeded 3 trillion won last year. The main driver is not only single households, but the standard 3 to 4 member families. Many dual-income families now choose the comfort and economy of HMRs over the hassles of cooking at home. With stronger demand for instant foods, more varieties have been added, and the quality and taste have also become better. Almost all kinds of home foods, Korean or Western, are available now in the frozen food section, and some department stores have launched their own brand of upscale HMRs that appeal to the palate of more affluent customers. The market is expected to grow and hit 4 trillion won in sales volume in 2018. For those who have nostalgia for their mom's cooking, these microwavable, MSG-filled instant foods may not be the option. But in this age of rapid changes, people's definition of a home-cooked meal is not what it used to be. Today's frozen foods have great value for money. Therefore, its popularity is rising amongst Korean families. So I said today's frozen foods have great value for money. Value for money means you're getting a lot of value for what you pay for. For example, if you look at the coffee shop market, there are coffee shops that charge 5,000 won for an Americano. However, you can get almost the same quality for 2,000 won at a smaller store. So the 2,000 won Americano, that's value for money. The 5,000 won Americano, not really great value for your money. Korea's nuclear families are switching to frozen foods to save time and money. So when we mention the nuclear family, it has nothing to do with nuclear weapons. It actually surrounds what is called the nucleus, or the center of a cell. The nuclear family is a term used for a 20th century family where there's a mother, a father, and 1 or 2 children. That's what we call a nuclear family. In a lot of cases, both parents work and don't have time to prepare dinner for their children, so frozen food is a convenient option. Frozen meals offer a time-saving alternative for families who don't have a good work-life balance. So I said frozen meals offer a time-saving alternative. So a time-saving alternative means instead of cooking, which might take an hour, your alternative would be to take your frozen food, put it in the microwave, and your meal's ready in 5 minutes. So that's a time-saving alternative, another option. And finally, I said for families who don't have a good work-life balance. Work-life balance is the amount of time you spend at work versus the amount of time or amount of free time you have. So if you work an 8-hour day and you have the weekends off, that's an okay, good work-life balance. However, if you only work 6 hours a day and have 3 days off, that's a great work-life balance. Also, companies that provide a lot of vacation, that would be improving the work-life balance. So it's the difference between your work time and your free time. The frozen food market is expecting to see 25% growth this year. A double-digit increase in frozen food sales is forecasted for this year. So I said a double-digit increase in frozen food sales. We usually use double-digit increase it's a very good sign for an investment or a product. It's quite vague because a double-digit can mean 10%, 20%, 30%. But when you're investing in something, the usual returns are 1%, maybe 6%, but double digits sounds very attractive. So if you say a double digit increase, it means a lot. So I know it's very vague, but people do use it in English. High-end TV dinners have been launched in the market. These frozen foods have better ingredients and better recipes from famous restaurants. Yeah, so I mentioned high-end TV dinners. If something is high-end, it's usually more expensive and therefore probably better. So if you were looking at a regular restaurant, a kimbap restaurant, it's not very high-end, but a nice steak restaurant is going to be more high-end. Also, we use it for automobiles. Luxury cars like Mercedes-Benz or BMWs are high-end cars due to their price tag. Food companies have teamed up with popular restaurants to release a new line of upmarket frozen meals. So I said food companies have teamed up with popular restaurants. Usually in business, we call this a joint venture, where two companies get together for not a long time, but a short period of time to complete a project. So one company will go with another company. They'll decide to make a line of frozen foods, and then maybe a couple years they might stop. But that's called a joint venture. And I said to release a new line of upmarket frozen meals. So if something's upmarket, it is more expensive. It's kind of like high end, but it's very relative to where you are. So, for example, if you live in a poor area of Seoul or middle class area, and you want something more upmarket, you would move to Gangnam. Alternatively, if you lived in Gangnam and you might have lost your job, you're going to be looking for an apartment that's a little bit more down market. So you'd move outside of Gangnam. Same goes for cars. If you looked at a K3, a K5, a K9, K9 is upmarket, K5 is down market from the K9, but the K3 is down market from K5. Frozen foods are convenient and delicious, but they contain high levels of sodium, trans fats, artificial coloring, and flavorings, which are not healthy for humans to consume in large amounts, especially children. I said they're convenient, delicious, but contain high levels of sodium. Sodium is also what we refer to the scientific word for salt. Within this could be MSG. Also trans fats. So trans fats include partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, which is a type of oil that is inflammatory, which means it can cause inflammation or swelling of your cells and lead to heart disease. So trans fats are the fats that are bad for your heart. And artificial coloring and flavoring, these just mean preservatives or chemicals that change the look and the flavor of the food. Frozen foods are processed foods. They will fill you up, but they are not good for you because they contain potentially harmful ingredients. Parents should be careful when feeding their children such foods. So I mentioned processed foods. A processed food is a food that has undergone kind of transformation with chemicals, oils, fats, like I said before, any sort of artificial coloring or preservatives. Preservatives are things that keep the food fresh. Usually, processed foods are most packaged foods, but the TV dinners and TV meals are processed foods. What are not processed foods are fruits, vegetables, meats, and kind of uncooked grains like rice. These are not processed. Thanks for listening, guys. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.